it really is called the first music. The reason it's called the first music is because it's shaped like a hydrogen atom. It's the most powerful atom that we know of in the universe. When you strike it, or when you cause friction across its surface, it begins to radiate what I call a low-density wave, almost like a gravity wave. Except this density wave is a levitational wave. It has a lifting power. It's that lifting power that we all try to achieve through deep meditation. It's allowed me to hear tones that I couldn't hear when I was young because I was tone deaf. When I ran into the Gong, all of a sudden I found a remedy for a lot of my own needs. This will affect your nervous system as well. When you feel this tone come out, when you stand in front of it, your whole being vibrates with this. Now, why should we want to get out of our body? Mainly so it can heal itself. So it can become superconducting. This is a superconducting force that packs into an acoustic space, creating an etheric plasma of sound around you. Sound is really called, in the Hindu tradition, akasha, the waters of the ether. And when we do get out of the material consciousness into the spiritual consciousness, we're in the waters of the Akash. So all the gurus of the past would bow to the Gong because they saw it as a Sat Guru, a guru of truth, and they could worship it as a guru, it's the Hindu tradition, because it had no personality, so to speak. Well, it does have a personality. All the little overtones in it create a personality, creates the presence of this, they call it a creative entity that is put into the Gong like a vessel, like a soul is born into a human body. But it has nothing that you can attach yourself to. So it was considered the very highest teacher. I met this Gong in Arizona, in the music store in 1970. And the reason why I kind of like instantly knew I had to have it was because it was identical to the first Gong that I heard. And this was played by a yoga master in Beverly Hills, 28-inch tam-tam orchestra gong like this with the Chinese letters Tai Loi, spiritualization of matter, on the front of it. And at that time, we had just done a strong Kundalini Yoga exercise, a Kriya, and I I've been doing yoga since 52, and it was like I found a teacher, a real teacher who knew Kundalini Yoga. So at that time, I was introduced to the sound of the bell, the conch, and the gong. And after the class, we lay down, and this great Sikh yoga teacher took his mallet and hit the gong so hard that it knocked practically the whole class out of their bodies. And we were up here, seeing ourselves down there. And I won't do that to you, because it's really a shock. And but if you build it up in volume, at some point, this great sound, this ocean of sound, opens up. This is called the mouth of Brahma. It swallows you like into a wormhole and through into another dimension, a shift in dimensions. And no matter how many years you've meditated, the gong will take you a little farther, or will take you to your next step. It's copper to a nickel. It has, they don't give away the actual relationships of the metals. That's what it is. I've been doing yoga since 52, and it was like I found a teacher, a real teacher who knew Kundalini Yoga. So at that time, I was introduced to the sound of the bell, the conch, and the gong. And after the class, we lay down, and this great Sikh yoga teacher took his mallet and hit the gong so hard that it knocked practically the whole class out of their bodies. And we were up here, seeing ourselves down there. And I won't do that to you. It's really a shock. And but if you build it up in volume, at some point, this great sound, this ocean of sound, opens up. This is called the mouth of Brahma. It swallows you like into a wormhole and through into another dimension, a shift in dimensions. And no matter how many years you've meditated, the gong will take you a little farther, or will take you to your next step. found out from the manufacturers that they created 11 gongs that were tuned exactly to the orbits of all the planets in our solar system. It's not the traditional way, but these were mathematically deduced to come out to a certain precise frequency, and they made 11 gongs. So I went to record the gongs, and I said, well, how do we get a gong to move in space when you record it? Regular stereo, you hit the gong, you hear it left, you hear it right. But what do you do when you have to swing it? I found a microphone that recorded in three-dimensional sound. So when you listen to it on headphones, I use it in healing to go completely over the person. And we'll do this in the workshop, and I'll show you how to heal with it. But this recording that we have not only gives us three-dimensional sound, but it's also all the planets. So that if you need Venus energy, you can play the actual frequency of Venus in the holistic resonant tone of a gong, because the planets are said to be gongs, heavenly spheres, and bathe yourself in this particular vibration. What I do is I take 2 tape recorders, put one planet in one and another planet in the other, and I can mix Venus and Mars, Moon and Neptune, any planets you want to, you can mix together like mixing these 2 gongs, playing them at once. And that brings the aspects of astrology into consideration. So there's a book out there and a kit, and I don't know the tone of that one here. They're called untuned gongs, symphonic tam-tams, because they send out a whole octave of sound. So, but they do have a basic fundamental frequency. You find it by hitting it right in the center. So if you haven't, you can tell me what this is. Of course, the ancients didn't need any frequency analyzers. They just resonated to the sound. This is the other small one. This one's an E. Fundamental. Like an F. It's just 2-inch difference in the size and 1 note difference in the sound. It gets higher as you get smaller. And they can only make gongs so big, like the biggest one is like that. Okay. Any bigger than that, the metal wouldn't hold up, because brittleness is a factor, density is a factor in the gong, and so they can only make it so thin and so heavy.
Who's saying? I mean, they do the sound of Venus? I mean, they do the sound. What do you mean by that?
Well, Venus is known as a planet that not only is at the third eye point here, but it's also a planet that brings in love into the life, love power, true love power.
So if I go to the Venus state, it will bring a lot of love in my life?
We say it's a supportive tool, okay, in order to help reinforce the love within you in your life.
Yes.
That's,
Which will attract more
yeah.
love with love.
Yes.
How do you know which planet you need?
There's a booklet there with all the relationships to that particular gong, even the meridians, acupuncture points, chakras, the colors. For instance, the Earth sound is 136 cycles per second, and it's a C sharp. It's considered to be the tone most used around the world in all the indigenous cultures as the fundamental tone of the heart. So the Earth is for the heart. It also has another tone it produces, which is its opposite color. C sharp, 136 cycles per second, is a blue-green, the Earth. And its opposite color as well will be brought into play. all the colors there. And this is the phenomenon of the gong, because you can't really put complementary colors together because you get nothing. When you blend the opposites together, you get nothing. So in this case, nothing is really something, because it's really another energy from another dimension coming through. It's an opening that takes place. I was told that 10, 45-minute gongings could cure anything in human ailments. Well, that's an old tale. I don't know anyone who's tried it. We've had a music therapy program at NYU using gong therapy a couple of years ago and teaching people how to play. In the workshop today, it's hands-on. I want you all to have a chance to play and to teach you some of the techniques of playing. It's a wonderful instrument, that as well as the conch shells. The seashells are wonderful healing instruments. I'll demonstrate those for you. And Tibetan bell bowls. Also, we'll do an extended gonging. The way to listen to the gong best is flat on your back in the Savasana pose, the corpse pose. And in that pose, healing can take place very quickly, or rejuvenation, or transformation. And as this kind lady said, that of her experiences is that over the years, those experiences like hers have been innumerable and all very much different, which is an interesting thing. Any questions?
Yes, can you play the gong tape while you are driving, or you will not invite it?
Yes, there's all different kinds of gong tapes. We have one with the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. We have one that I put together for those who are Kabbalistically inclined, and it went up the tone tree of life, up the 10 spheres, according to the lightning bolt of the tree.
So you can listen while you're driving in your car.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, don't, not when you're tired.
Not when you're tired?
I'm just joking. I play them in the car before. You have to use your discretion with any music. Right now, you see, transambience has come into the new wave of music, the merging of new age with your techno-pop, and they call it transambience. Well, the original transambient synthesizer was the first one, which is the Gong, which is a synthesizer. It has the power to synthesize diverse tones together, and the tones multiply according to the law of phi, the golden mean in the universe. I don't know what that means to anybody. We can go into it in the workshop. But it's the way that the sound energy packs into the acoustical space. And as the thickness increases, the phi increases, the transcendental awareness increases. And this was put there by Buddha in 600 BC, and it's the Buddha consciousness that this brings out of people. The Buddhists have called it no mind. But no mind is some mind, and that's the mind that we want to achieve in meditation. Yes?
If you don't want to buy a gong, can you get a lot of the same results or effects from the tape?
Yes.
If I wouldn't know how to play it, maybe with it.
I imagine you want to make a tape recorder that might be helpful.
The better tape recorder, better speakers, the better. I'm going to do a recording shortly with the world's most powerful microphone. It's been used to calibrate a 747 jet taking off. We put it right behind the motor, so it takes 164 decibels into this microphone. And so we're going to do a recording because of this. This, of course, won't get up that high, but it sounds good.
I've never heard the gong before, and I had trouble feeling fear. And I was wondering if is this something they work through?
Out of 50 people, there will be one person or two people in the group, or several people, who will feel fear. Okay? I like to explain that because in the old literature of the Gong, it says, now look, this is not beautiful entertainment. This is transformational power that comes through. It's an engine of power more than a musical instrument or equally. And what that does is it brings up the energy of the past and exercises. They use it to exercise any negativity that anyone put into your aura or into your subconscious memory. That the first thing it'll do, it'll move that out. And so sometimes you'll get these feelings. But it only happens once usually with the Gong.
So the tape will do it, will work it out?
Yes.
Okay. Which one do you recommend?
The first one I did is called Sacred Cove in the Pacific Ocean. It's an actual place in California. It's been out the longest. I've had a lot of people ask for that tape because I recommended they play it right before they went to sleep tonight. If they had an ongoing recorder, play it while they're asleep. The Gong is supposed to reduce your sleep by 1 or 2 hours a night if you listen to it before you go to sleep. So, and it's the one music that the duplicating place where they have to listen to music over and over again, it rejuvenated them after working on the tapes. You don't need any musical education to play the Gong. In fact, it might even help not to have any music education to play the Gong. Because it's to develop your intuition. You know and I know that it's the one thing that everyone needs the most of is intuition. So this will create intuition. They call it resonant telepathy, but it's really Gong consciousness. It picks up sounds, whistles, flutes, so it becomes also a sounding board. Would you like to close your eyes and turn off the lights? The healing in the 21st century is going to be through the secret that's held in this sound, holistic resonance. It is really a venue for you to let yourself go completely. Let the ego go completely. No resistance. It's all right there. going to look at you today as potential gong players. Right? There was a time when there was a gong in every home, except it was before written records, so we can't prove it. Originally, they were used only by royalty. Only the royalty could afford them. And they used it to announce spiritual kings and queens when they entered a palace or a sacred space. When somebody was dying, they would immediately surround that person with gongs and begin to play. The life force from the gongs would keep the person alive. At the time of death, the person's body would lay between the gongs, and for 72 hours they would gong the corpse. The idea is that when a soul dies, what keeps that soul earthbound is all the emotional feelings that are unresolved in their life. So this lower mental state keeps us earthbound. When you gong the gong in the sacred space, the spirit that's inherent within the gong itself commingles with the presiding entity of sacred spaces. It's like there are two gongs. There's the acoustical space has a certain key, and then the gong has a certain key, and they intermingle together. So wherever you play the gong, you create a sacred space. We think of silence as being the absence of sound. And we know that this room is fairly silent to the rooms outside, but still we have ambient sound here. But there is still a sense of more silence. After you play the gong, you get a true sense of silence, that even though there's noise around you, you're in a still small center of silence and peace. So, to keep that peace around us, the gong strengthens our ability to do that. And it also teaches us that there is no such thing as true silence anywhere. That silence can be found in the very center of sound. You can find silence anywhere, but it's not of the material plane. It's of the etheric plane. So the silent sound that we hear in the etheric plane happens to us as the gong tones build up. Total sound equals total silence. And this is to blot out every sound around us so nothing else exists but the sound of Om. And it swallows us up. We get into a bubble of it, and our whole being vibrates with this Om sound, bringing you magically to another state. A state where you have no body. You're just consciousness. Ultimately, when we leave the physical form for real, we're just going to be consciousness. So it enables a person to lose their fear of death. Because all you have to do, and the yogis have done it, is to get to a state of no lower mind, no mind, and yet the consciousness of the everything, so that there is no death. So that enables us to also get the ability to die consciously so that we don't fall into sleep. And that's why it reduces your sleep. This is... Hit yourself right there. Well, isn't it primal, yes, but it certainly is the most resonant part of our body, is right here. This is since we are gongs, selection of gongs, this is the big gong in our body. And it happens to be at the second rib, which is the thymus gland, which is your immune system, and that's directly related to your nervous system. So the nervous system, relates directly with the etheric field. So by playing the gong every day or listening to it, what happens is that your nervous system builds up and becomes strong. Why don't we do this? Why don't we kick off our shoes, kick back, and if anybody has something they can put their head on, they can lie on the floor. We all need rejuvenation. Of course, we can get it without doing anything, just by being bathed in gong sound, but let's do a little breathing first, because if you breathe deep, squeezing all the air out on the exhale, you can do it through your mouth. And then breathe long and deep through the nose. Keep breathing, but raise your arms up till your hands are pointing to the ceiling. Now breathe. Optimally. Keep breathing. Now bend your palms back so your palms are facing the ceiling and your arms are straight. Fingers are back. Breathe deeply. You know the gongs are the 9th chakra as well as the feet. And by stretching your hands back like this, you can increase the hand's gong power of healing from it. And it'll hurt for a little while, but just straighten them out, keep it back there. It's a very small valley of pain. And just breathe deep. Keep the fingers back. Feel the electricity building up in the hands. Now inhale deep and hold the breath. Pull the fingers back farther. Release, relax the hand. Forget your body. Forget your mind. Forget the thing. Just flow, dissolve, and witness. other force within you. Or it's already gone and you just disappear. And you just... All of the yogic powers, you know, are experienced in Gong sessions. So, but how do you play it? When you approach the Gong, the first teaching lesson I had was keep your spine straight, just like in yoga. Stay centered right here, and only play from the third eye point. You're not following your ears or your eyes necessarily. You can play with the eyes closed. And what you're doing is you're intuitionally playing. If we want spontaneous healing, which is the only healing that really happens, then we have to allow our left brains not to get involved in it. So that means no ego. I've seen people come up with very strong ego, and they say, "Oh, the Gong," you know, and they come up, and of course they aim right at the heart of it, the weakest part of it. They hit it. Sometimes that happens, but not all people do that. Some people are Gong masters right from the very beginning. They'll come up and they'll tap it, and they'll hit it lightly, stick your ear close and listen to it. And that's the way you learn how to play it. It's very intimate in the beginning. Nobody can teach you how to play it. It plays you. So you kind of get close to it and listen. And you don't worry left brain about doing something right or wrong. There's nothing you can do wrong. And so when we get rid of that, then all of a sudden you're a pure instrument and the Gong is playing you. You learn certain things because it's like a flying saucer. It has an aerial phenomenon. So you can direct its sound, its beam of energy. And if you're playing, it has a drum, which is a Gong as well. You can mute it with your hand. And by using a light touch with your hand, you can let it go full volume, or you can quiet it down. So both hands come into play at the same time. And I love to play it with my knuckles. And you can play it just with your finger. The great part of it is that no matter what you're doing, this strong radiation is coming right into your body. So it's one of those lucky instruments that you play that heals you as well as the other person. And not only it takes your ego out of the picture, so it won't interfere with healing, it also takes the ego out of the person who's listening. Because the only time that you get frightened, you want to get up and run, or something bad happens, is because of an ego fixation, a left brain fixation that's based upon anxiety and survival, worry. But if you let that happen, pretty soon that entity lets go entirely, and you're one whole being, and you're just flowing with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Don, welcome. How are you? Nice to meet you, the mysterious tremendum. Welcome. Different, to say the least. I don't know what kind of reactions you get to the sound.
Well, everybody seems to love it because it's so unique.
Yes.
Different than Western music.
That it is. Introduce the group and tell me about the instruments, because they are all natural, except the gong, yes?
Yeah, well, actually, these are Bronze Age bell bowls. Sandy and Randee are playing the bowls and the bells. And then David is playing the conch shell, and then he has a lot of natural instruments there of those.
Is the conch shell the one that if you hold it to the...
You hear the sound of the ocean.
But the sound you were making, Dave? Yeah, I love that. You really can hear it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of natural sounds when you play it with your embouchure and has a series of
like a horn.
Notes available.
I didn't know. Yeah, that is different. What do you tell people at a party? I play the, well, that's different, right? And how are you? This is, hi, I love the sound there. How did you get with the group? It's curious.
Well, I was invited to a recording session that Don was going to be at, and I thought it was interesting, so I tried it. I loved it.
They call it healing music. Don, I'd like to know how it heals. How does the gong?
Well, a gong puts out all the power of an orchestra of 100 instruments. Has that much power. So it bathes the body in an oceanic roar of Om. And in that, overtones rise, and it takes the mind on a meditative journey. So it's kind of a blissful meditative experience that suspends you. And this heals the body. The body resonates with the sound.
You can't deny that you're affected by the sound. There's no, I think instead of asking why, you just kind of go with it. Is that the idea?
That's right,
too?
because when we were in the womb, we had the Om sound in the womb. So it's not a stranger to us. So now we recognize it as a secure feeling of being part of the universe, part of the cosmos.
I have to admit, you're the first gong master I've ever met, and I'm wondering how in the world this began for you.
I was gonged once in 1969, and I said, like anybody else, I've got to have one of these. So I got one, and I've been playing it practically every day.
You did, and there is a way, see, I thought all you do is hit it. We all thought that.
No,
there
all
is
you
an
have
art
to
to
do
it.
is to get it going. You don't have to have hard strokes, just rapid strokes. And it builds it up, and it gets bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger. Use your hand.
Oh, I hear it going to, I never knew that, yeah. How does that work? I don't know what makes that happen. Do we know?
Yeah, just friction.
It's the friction of the,
Yeah.
And you have different kinds, obviously. Does the
This
size
is a small
matter?
one, yes, and here we've taken the gongs of our solar system, made chimes out of it. And these have the 11 orbiting bodies of our solar system, their frequencies, so that you can hang them in your home and it can just bathe the atmosphere.
With different, it clearly has changed your life then to do this work.
Oh, yes. It keeps you young. It keeps you vibrant. It keeps you resonant. The whole idea is resonance, power of resonance. And that's what we need to keep the immune system together.
Yeah.
You know, the nervous system and the aura together. It's resonance.
Yeah.
So the gong transfers this power over to you and makes you feel resonant as well.
See, I'm willing to try all kinds of things to feel resonant. This is a different, I don't know, does this make sense to you guys? You know, like I said, it's very interesting. It's an interesting concept. We want to try it and learn a little more about it. Maybe we had an audience member also, but I'll try it if you don't mind. Show me what I should do.
All right, we'll do it together. You hit that side. This is the most resonant part.
Just one
right
hand.
Here.
Right
and
here.
Just
Love it. Hold it up here. That settles the sound.
And then you can...
Oh, in the middle.
And it becomes a drum. Gongs and drums are very similar.
Yes.
They both resonate here and in here. And,
I'm feeling it. Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's tactile. You've got the sound. You've got the touch. You've got all of those things
that's
together.
right. They're called feeling tones. And the emotional body just loves it. It seems to be a nutrient that's missing, a sort of We call it the tritone, the hidden side of tone.
Got it, yeah. You know, the one we started on today I brought from home, but
Yes.
it's just decorative. I'd never tried to really play it.
Yes.
It is that.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where it, we don't know if that's where gongs originated, or did
All over Tibet and China, Mesopotamia, Iraq, Iran, everywhere.
Okay.
About 3500 BC. Oldest instrument we have is called a synthesizer.
I got it. Okay, well, it's certainly good to be introduced again to new sounds. This is, again, the mysterious tremendum. We'd love you to play us out into our break if you could.
Sure.
Wonderful
This means
you've done. What does this?
happiness has arrived.
Okay, let's hope it has. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Is here from Australia. Also, find out what a gravichord is.
And we're going to gong. That's all tonight on Sound Effects. Do something, Karen, before we get to new releases. We have gonging later. This is a sort of a spiritual, metaphysical experience over here. But we're going to have to get rid of this table if we can. Ed Ford, Anthony, can we just need to move this out, and don't step on. They have all their instruments. So a little later, we're going to be gonging. We're talking about club DJs that are trying to become stars. Right now, Karen Bryant, as she always does at the top of the show, has tonight's new releases.
Thanks.
And Bonnie just performed, and a little later, Karen will be visiting with him, and we'll learn more about him. Also, just around the corner, we're going to be gonging. We're going to experience and take a sort of a mystical, magical tour through gongs. Right now, though, Karen Bryant has another form to another. You know, gonging is one of the rarest forms of music. It goes back to ancient China and Egypt, Middle East, and when it's played by a master, as Don Conreaux is, it actually has some mystical, healing, very spiritual things. This is Don Conreaux and the mysterious tremendum. Don't stop. It's wonderful. As you guys continue to play, Don, if you just can, how does one come upon gonging as a musical choice of instruments?
Well, you have to be gonged. Once you're gonged, then you make a decision.
So who gonged you?
I got gonged by a yogi
No.
in California back in 1969.
Now, somebody told me it was, and maybe this is the yogi, that it was an actor buddy of yours. You were doing some acting.
James Coburn was an actor friend of mine at the time, and he had gongs. He used to hang them in his house. Marlon Brando's got gongs. There's a lot of celebrities.
Now, I referred to you as a master, a gonger, or how would you say that?
A gongist, a gonger, a master.
How do you become a master? Is it actually, is there a category you reach, a level?
Yes, well, you can take it on any level you want, either a gong maestro or a gong master. It's the same thing. You're conducting a whole orchestra of sounds in here, and then you have to play every day for about 10, 20 years.
Take us through some of these instruments that are making such a wonderful sounds. Just highlight some of the ones that...
Tibetan singing bowls. They make this beautiful sound.
What do we have over? Well, we have a lovely voice. That's what we have over here. It's a human voice.
It is, yes.
Is that part of gonging?
Oh, yes.
A humming and a spiritual...
You see, we try to evoke the soul of the instrument. They have a cry, each one. So when we play, we don't quite know what's going to happen. It's a tremendous mystery, so we call ourselves the mysterious tremendum.
Now, you talk a lot about the actual spiritual and the mystical, the healing powers, I guess. How does that come into play? How is gonging healing?
It creates a very strong field of vibrations that your senses feel. Your feet, your arms, everything feels it. And this puts you into a sort of an altered state, a gong state, we call it.
You know what it kind of makes me think of, or one thing that comes to mind is massage, therapeutic massage. This is the kind of sounds that might blend itself.
They say that your hands are a gong. So it's that music, when you're using your hands, it goes right through your hands.
So is it similar to other therapeutic form, like gardening, where gardeners talk about when their hands are in the soil, they feel it?
That's right. You know, Earth Day is tomorrow.
Oh, right.
Right, and so these instruments are indigenous and primal instruments that are used during Earth Day and other celebrations for the Earth.
You got a number you could give us to kick off Earth Day tonight?
A number?
Well, a musical, I'm sorry,
Whoa.
a gong piece of music.
A medley?
A medley, yes.
Yes, we have. We thought we would do something we did at the Cell 94 at Woodstock last time. It's Amazing Grace.
Great. And so is there places people can see you, speaking of which, before you play?
Oh, yes. We're going to be at the Monticello racetrack.
Okay.
With the Freedom Fest this summer for a couple of performances.
All right.
And around town.
Well, let's give the folks an idea of what they'll see, what they'll hear.
Thank you.
We offer you peace. We offer you friendship. We offer you love. We hear your needs. We see your beauty. We feel your feelings. All wisdom flows from a higher source. We honor the source in you. Let us work together. I'd like to introduce two instruments to you. The oldest instrument in the world is a conch. It's the symbol of this time that we're living in now. I'd like to just blow the conch for you for a second. What's a Woodstock without a gong? On the face of every gong put there 5,000 years ago says peace on earth now. And I'd like to introduce M, a member of Mysterious Tremendum. She's going to do Amazing Grace, and I'm going to play the gong.
For whom the gong tolls, today it tolls for thee. It's a totally unique experience. Gongmaster Don Conreaux has spent a lifetime banging the gong slowly. Today he'll show us its sacred symbolism and teach our audience a resonating lesson. Also today, if you have had it with self-help books and psychoanalysis, we've got Dr. Fred Newman for you. He says just develop and you'll do just fine. Also, pharmacist Gerard Hickey is in to take us to the pharmacy of the future with holistic products for healthier living that you've probably never heard of, but you will soon. Once again, we've got a show unlike any other, waking up mind, body, and spirit. Alive and Wellness is next. Tell we've got an unusual show ahead for you. Welcome to our audience, too. Got a good one from Paramus, New Jersey, and from the Bronx in New York, so we're ready to get going. Hope you're having a good day, too. You know, it's a sound unique in all the world, the tone of a gong. Our first guests today believe in the healing qualities of that sound. In fact, they call them feeling tones that allow the whole body to become much like an ear. Take a listen now to sound researcher and gong master Don Conreaux and company as they enlighten us on the sacred powers of the gong. Welcome back. Good to have you again. I want to introduce the members of the group. You know, I love this. I told you before, there's something, it does resonate in a way. I'm curious to hear what our audience thinks of it, too. This is the Mysterious Tremendum, Don's group, and I think we should go around and welcome you guys again and also know what it was you were playing, because the story behind the instruments is just as interesting, I think.
Yes. Well, of course, this is the rain stick.
The rain stick.
Rain stick.
If that is water, what is that?
That's little beams are inside, flowing through there, and they construct a little waterfall-like for it to go down inside. And these are the singing bowls. They're mainly from Tibet, Nepal, and Korea, and some of the Ring of Fire nations. And you rim them, and they create a hum line. And they're used for meditation to bring you into one-pointedness. And the little saucer-shaped ones, these, are called tingshaws.
What is that again?
Tingshaw.
Wonderful sound.
Make these sounds.
Yes, yes.
And the sacred conch.
That's what you were playing
Yes.
from the sea.
Now, this is from Australia. They're all different. And this is a sound that goes right through you. Want to hear?
Yes, again.
Stay.
Oh, stay where I am? I don't know why I'm backing up.
Right?
It does, and you're not blowing on me, you're just blowing through me
the
then.
sound goes right through
This
the body.
is the essence of what you're trying to teach us with these sounds, the gongs and the others, the resonance.
Yes.
It's for healing.
It's for healing. These gongs are different than any other musical instrument we have on Earth because they put out a body of sounds called cosmic power. And all the cells resonate. It creates a kind of a forced resonance.
I can't explain what happened, but I did feel it was as if a vibration was happening when you did the conch shell. So this is what you've been learning for the last 20 years of your life, Don?
Yes, and our mysterious tremendum, we improvise. The idea behind improvisation, it develops intuition.
Aha. How does it click in on our intuitive forces?
Well, because you can't premeditate.
Improvisation.
Yes, our rehearsals are spent trying to figure out what not to do.
Is that right?
What happens?
We're too programmed, right?
Yes.
Normally in our lives, so you throw the programming out.
That's right. And then allow spirit to just manifest.
If you like this sound, I just want to make mention of the fact that Don has a group and the Mysterious Tremendum have a CD out called Gongs of Our Solar System, which has got so many experiences from these sounds, I think, which is a good way to put it. What you were doing, too, with the whirling of the gong, you called it the dance of the gong.
The
What's
dance of the gong.
The essence of that?
Because as the gong moves, it's like a planet that moves in the solar system. It can go in this direction, it goes in this direction, it has all these aerial movements, and it changes the sound waves so that you can actually make the sound waves meet each other as you twist it. And this, of course, when you blow it over the body, you find the gong wind. They say gong with the wind. That's the
gong with the wind. I got it, yeah. And that, too, has to do with our vibrational energies, huh?
Yes.
Is that the idea, to kind of clear it and do?
To clear it all out and allow the body to heal itself.
There are many things that Don teaches in his seminars and the like about the gong itself, but also how to cleanse ourselves with this. One is called a gong bath. Now, this is the first for me, and I'm sure a first for a lot of people. You're also the first gong master I've ever met, which we'll talk a little more about in a minute. Come on in, we got one of our volunteers. Hi, Daryl. This is an experience, I think. What's your name?
Chantel.
Chantel, you want to lay down for us? Don't be afraid.
We should.
It's going to be, just lay down with your head on the pillow there. Don's going to take it from there. They're going to flow through you. What are you going to do for her?
All right. First of all, the main thing about the gong is don't resist it. Just allow the sound to go right through you no matter how loud it seems. It won't hurt your ears. And just close your eyes. And if you can, just think about how hard it was to get up this morning and you were dreaming. And allow yourself to go back into a dream state. Totally relaxed. Lie there for a minute, and the ancient way of healing with the conchs creates the same similar sound.
Don, let me ask him. Thank you. Are you okay? Well, you know the question. How did it feel? Did you feel anything?
Sort of.
Strange, I know. A little. Did you vibrate it? Did you feel any vibrations there? Did you enjoy the feeling?
A little bit.
Hard to describe. I'm going to let you think about it. Thank you for going through it with us. That was a gong bath. Thank you, Don. I'm sure that's not an unusual reaction, right, Dad? This is unlike anything we're used to.
That's right.
You call them indigenous instruments, right? They're right out of the earth and out of our ancestry as well.
That's right.
But the idea is to link it up to the feelings we have today and soothe them and heal them.
I think so. When you play primordial instruments, indigenous instruments, they bring ourselves back to our ancestors. A feeling of years and years ago. And perhaps if you believe in many lifetimes, it brings back that, too, the feeling of having lived before in primordial times.
And this is something you believe is going to happen involuntarily because of the vibrations, because of the unique tone of these instruments. Is that right?
They bring out memory. They're good for imagination, creative intelligence.
Okay, we're not done yet with our introduction to Gongs as medicine, Don Conreaux and the Mysterious Tremendum. We're going to come back and learn about Gong yoga, among other things. So stay with us. You might learn something that'll help in your life. With Don Conreaux, and this is the Mysterious Tremendum, his group. Just want to make a quick mention, if you'd like to chat along with our show today on Prodigy, you jump to the chat board and then go to the America's Talking area. Today's password is BITE, talking about the internet in the midst of all this ancient music and tone. Thank you, guys. What are we hearing now, Don? This is more of the...
This is called Mongolian overtone chanting.
This is chanting?
Yes.
Of a sort. This is one of the things we're going to teach you guys in just a moment today. We're going to use Gong yoga as one of our experiences, and also this chanting. I want to take a minute to talk to Randee, though, if I can interrupt for a moment. Randee, you were saying you're a classically trained musician. I was wondering how people choose to become involved in these kinds of experiences.
Well, I was brought up on clarinet, and I became pretty established that way in high school and college.
Very traditional, huh?
Traditional. But then I went out into the work world, and I found that I wasn't able to keep up with my music because of the discipline and joining orchestras, and for whatever reason, the music seemed to stop in my life, and I went on with work and so on. And years later, I became involved in meditation practice and chanting and so on. And a couple years ago, 91, I helped produce an event with Don, and a bowl-playing ensemble, one hand clapping, came in from the West Coast, and at the end of it, I was presented with this gift.
Yes.
And I started to use it and play with it, and it became part of my meditation.
Part of your meditation, so it really is a healing force. It really does calm you down, cool you out, does it, Randee?
Yeah, immediately, as you begin playing it, it just seems to, and all the bowls and bells and gongs have different tones, so we seem to find the one that feels right
for you. Your essence, kind of. Yeah. And you played in the subway, even.
And I played in the subway. I do these toning sounds, and the subway platform is the best because people don't notice you.
And what's the reaction of folks when they see you?
They don't see me doing it. The yoga, sometimes they see me do, and they kind of enjoy that and say, oh, what are you doing and what's happening? But the bells and the toning and these overtones, I find that I can match the sound of what I think is noise pollution, like the sound of the noisy train.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to go like this, and everybody's pushing and shoving.
So you counteracted with that.
Yeah.
Let me grab a quick phone call, Randee. Someone wants to, Ida in New York wants to know a little more about this. Ida, good morning.
Morning.
What's your question?
I have polymyositis, muscle disease, and I'd like to know if the Gong therapy would help. I also have a very bad memory.
Bad memory, but a muscle problem. How could Gong therapy help that, Don? What do you think?
Well, remember this. If you, the gong produces the sound of Om. The sound of O is our most resonant sound we can produce with the voice. It relates to memory. And so it really does bring back memory to you. It rejuvenates lifetimes, in fact, of memories. So insofar as relaxing the muscles, immediately you go into a state where your life force is withdrawn into your spine. It's called magnetizing the spine. And you sort of forget you have a body. And you are lifted up in kind of this carpet of energy. And you're in a sort of a sleep, but you're conscious. And that's the state that healing takes place.
You know, may I suggest, it sounds sort of surreal, you know, the words of it, but I think you really do have to experience this. I think in the studio we were saying you really do begin to feel something. So if you can get a hold of a gong, or what could you use Is there anything other than that? I'm going to come around this way. Oops. Excuse me. I guess I made my own music, right? That's one way to make music, right? Hey, that's good. Okay.
Those are...
the chimes. That's good in your home, then.
Yes.
Those are easy to find, right?
Well, we believe that the solar system, all the planets in the solar system are all gongs, resonating musical spheres. And those are the planets of the solar system in chime fashion, so that you hear all the vibrations of the orbiting planets in our solar system.
So perhaps Ida could begin with that. Let's walk over to our audience. We're going to show us a little of Gong yoga, which is certainly a new concept. What's the connection of yoga as we know it?
The Gong philosophy is I'm a gong, and you're a gong, and we're all gongs. And what does a gong do? But a gong, when you hit it, it's always fully resonant. It's got a lot of life force. So in order not to get old or to get tired, you simply, bang your own gong.
Can we do this in a minute? We've only got about a minute left.
All right.
Let's try it.
So,
okay.
Hands up. And just roll the wrists like this. Okay, inhale deep. Exhale. Blow it out. Inhale deep. Exhale. Now inhale deep and hold the breath and keep rolling the wrists.
What's this doing, Dad? Or what should it be doing?
And exhale. And release, and then just drop your neck and relax it like this. Well, the first thing that needs massage and the first thing that needs work are the joints in the body.
Okay.
There's an explanation for that, is that we're built on the Fibonacci series, or called the 5 series, in which these are in perfect proportion, and you don't want to have any tension in the joints, especially in the hips and the knees.
We're going to have to stop our discussion, though. As our time's up, I wish we could hear more, but maybe we're at the beginning, huh?
Yes.
To learn yoga with a gong, with the whole resonating theory of it. Again, the mysterious tremendum, Don Conreaux, thank you. We always learn a lot when you come. Come back again, okay? Well, play us out, and thanks, kids, for helping us out.